Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Nice to be back after a week. And for those who are watching us from a different time zone or it's their first time to see us, good afternoon, or I mean, good morning or good evening. My name is Marilyn. I'm the founder and CEO of Customized Training Solutions Private Limited or CTS, and we're Asia's most trusted training and business solutions partner. And of course, we are organizing this program, these interviews, to hopefully add value and create an impact to leaders to stay relevant, adapt to the next normal, and ensure performance of a hybrid team. And today, it's my great pleasure to introduce our guest, Arlene Tan, one of the few qualified lawyers who is also registered patent, industrial design, and trademark agent, holds leadership position in many business associations in Malaysia, and has been the judge for many business awards and pitching programs. So without so much further ado, I'd like to bring in Arlene. Hi, Arlene.
Hi, Marlene. Good afternoon, everyone.
Thank you for taking time to have this interview with me today.
My
And just
pleasure.
for yeah, and just for the audience to let them know that I've actually get to know you because of a common friend, Marcos Tay.
Right.
Hi, Engineer
Yes, right.
Marcos Tay. Yeah. So thank you so much for uh, connecting us together for this interview. And so let's get started. I have introduced you, but feel free to share with us in 2 to 3 minutes what else you'd like our audience to know about your leadership journey.
Right. Sure thing. The first thing I would like to share is that apart from being a qualified lawyer in Malaysia and London, England and Wales, okay, I'm also a registered trademark, patent, and industrial design agent in Malaysia.
Mm-hmm.
Currently, I run my own firm by the name of Arlene Tan Eng Guat, which is based in Bangsa, Malaysia. We have two branches. One is in Bangsa, another one is at Kuchai. All right, and we specialize in settling commercial disputes for company, drafting of agreements, registration of intellectual property rights locally and internationally, setting up your intellectual property protection web, settling commercial disputes, and enforcing the rights in the event your rights have been infringed. Yeah, that's what we do practically every day. And well, many people have always asked me, how does a lawyer turn from being a legal person to an entrepreneur? I would say that my leadership skills are honed from the various education classes that I've attended over the years.
Mm-hmm.
Membership, leadership positions in various entrepreneurship associations, as well as organizing various events and forums as a leader in the business world has helped me to develop these leadership skills over the years. Okay, and that's why we do not merely settle matters for the clients through legal solutions, like what majority of the lawyer will be doing, but rather we offer practical legal solutions to businessmen, to entrepreneurs, any of our clients, be it an individual, simply because we have gained experience and skills which may be relevant to their area and their industries. And the experience which I've also gained throughout the years has helped many clients in settling their commercial disputes, and that range from micro startups to multinational companies or even listed companies, because all these different organizations, they would have different types of problems which require special unique solutions or creative solutions to them. That is what we are trying to offer to the client. And that brings us to the topic of transformation, which Marilyn has brought up just now, where we have pivoted from being a law firm to a tech based law firm, because that has enabled us to work through the pandemic with the government's restriction on traveling or even attending to work. You know, in the first 2 years, especially the first half a year when Malaysia was under the movement control order, many law firms, and not merely law firms, many companies, they have been forced to close down because they did not embrace the technology. What we have done with the adoption of tech-based solution, our firm were able to continue to operate even though that time the business was slow. So, what I can say is that we have proudly transformed from being a generalist to a specialist in commercial and intellectual property area, with our associates being able to offer practical solutions relevant to business expansion and valuation.
Thank you so much
I hope
for
that answers your
sharing.
question. Sorry,
Sorry.
I might have talked too much. You gotta stop me if that's the case.
Yeah, no worries. There seem to have a bit of delay between us, so sorry if you are not yet done. So, but anyway, thank you so much for sharing with us your journey through leadership as well as how you actually pivoted during the pandemic, right? And I really love the part that you've mentioned how you not only pivoted but actually turned into a niche from generalist to specific. And speaking of tech, I just actually wanted to say hi to the previous attendees, especially the speakers that I have worked with. I just recently produced um, with the team of ATX, Informa, and Omdia. And I have actually produced Communic Asia in the last week. It has been an amazing experience with a lot of tech companies, obviously, who has attended that program. So thank you for sharing that experience. And having said, that experience that you had in the how you pivoted, how you transformed, and how you actually honed your leadership, who are your influencers, and if you do have any favorite leadership styles that leads you to how you define what leadership is for you now, please feel free to share with us.
Certainly, that would be my pleasure indeed to acknowledge those very important people who have influenced my leadership styles in a way. Okay, and I'm still in the process of learning. And I will start with beginning to say that I delve into the area of intellectual property law that I have gained much interest with during my schooling days. Okay, the first chance was being given by Mr. Patrick and Mrs. Gladys Miranda. So they gave me the first breakthrough, and they are the people who has kickstarted my career journey. The Miranda's family, they practice a traditional way of imposing their leadership. So it's either my way or the highway, you see. And they set the rules. The carrot and the sticks are very clear from the outset. They make this very clear to all the staff. They have offices um, in Singapore, Malaysia, and all around the Southeast Asia. So there's a reason why this family is actually quite well known in intellectual property area. You see, and one thing for sure is that they treat their clients very well, and they taught me the maxim of treating someone well, and they will return and treat you better. So to me, no rule with an iron fist, as it will shun people away from you. Would you agree with me?
Definitely, definitely. I love that part you said that you've learned something from them, the my way or
Oh
the
yes.
highway, and
Oh,
especially
yeah.
that part that you've mentioned, that one thing for sure, and I am sure about that. I've been in the customer service or hospitality industry, and it's like I would say a reciprocation law, if I say that
Yeah,
correctly. Yeah, when you treat them
that's very true.
well, then they treat you better. I mean, that's how humans
Yeah.
are, right?
Yes, that is very much so. And I'll go on for the second person who has influenced me at the beginning of my career journey, and that is Mr. Gerald Peter Samuel. He was my tutor and as well as a mentor. Okay, um, the maxim which I'm now still adopting is from Joel Brown, which I learned from Mr. Gerald. He said that the only thing that stands between you and your dream is the will to try and the belief that it is actually possible. So Gerald actually taught me the power of believing, of influencing people to believe in your dreams and on influencing rather than dictating. So this is something which I hold very close to my heart.
Mm-hmm.
And he has also taught me the importance of gaining knowledge and to part it as a leader. So which is why over the years I've always been trying to absorb, to taking interns or even um, pupil to be their master, to be able to share my knowledge and to part with it so that they will be able to move on as a leader as well.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And I really appreciate that because it's a reminder for everyone that, if you always believe in your dream and what is possible for you, you will definitely do something about it, right?
Yeah.
And that was actually kind of the theme of the conversation I had with Hangi in my recent interview, where like teachers, you've mentioned that Mr. Samuel is also your mentor and tutor, and I think that's natural for trainers, for mentors, for coaches to be actually able to influence, as well as for leaders, I would say, because a good leader is always a good teacher or trainer as well, right?
Yeah.
And it's really so much around like what's possible and who can you be, or who you can ought to be, you ought to be, right? So it's the possibilities, it's really showing them the possibilities and the dreams that they can attain, right? So
Yeah.
thank you for that reminder. I really appreciate that. And so, I mean, in my introduction, I made mention earlier, and even when you share that you have transformed and pivoted your business during the COVID-19, I've also
Uh-huh.
made mention in my introduction the purpose of having these interviews. And so I'm curious to know from your experience as a corporate leader and working with corporate leaders, what would you say would be the top three problems that they normally face?
Right. The first problem that I usually see are that corporate leaders, they often neglect the need to fireproof
Mhm.
their corporate assets legally. In
Right.
many circumstances, corporate leaders actually will come to me with very common problems being faced by them more often than not
Mhm.
can be settled by way of a prevention in the first place. For example, many intellectual property related problems can be solved through registration. Shareholders' dispute can be solved through a valid shareholders' agreement being signed during the formation of the company, or even employment issues can be solved through having a thorough employment contract being drafted and signed at the beginning. These are very simple yet efficient solutions to their everyday issue. So the same thing would be when organizing a team, you need to draw out everything that may possibly happen through your
Mhm.
experience from the outset to prevent any untoward arguments or possible conflicts. So this was something which some people will be assuming. They assume that, oh, things would not go wrong.
Exactly.
But ironing the rules straight to avoid future dispute is more important to me. And the second problem that I see is that leaders, more often than not, they try to micromanage. What I learned from the association events are that once you decide to delegate, please leave the delegated work to the leader that you assign it to. Do not micromanage them. It is the result and not the journey that counts. When you place your trust in someone, please trust them wholeheartedly. Let that person do the work his style, and you only jump in when you have been asked to, and that is when the problems kicks in. So your job is just to solve the problems that they are facing there and done. Okay, primarily it's not an executive position that you will be assuming, because executing the work is for them, it's not for a leader to do so. And the third problem, which I see many leaders that they do not foresee, is that the need to innovate and pivot. And that's why I like the question you asked just now. You know, the old leadership style um, may not be practical and may not be appropriate anymore in view of the current technological inclined world, especially with the Gen Z. People that we are hiring nowadays, they are not of our age or our senior anymore. More often than not, they are youngsters who always feel the need to be heard and have ideas of their own.
Mm.
Chinese used to say, hey, ngon sạch giùm to còn lên sạch mày à? That means I add salt is more than the amount of rice which you are eating. This Chinese maxim, you hardly can apply that in our days um, anymore.
True, true. And sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was thinking that with the advancement of technology,
Mhm,
the younger generation may have ideas that people from our generation or even our elder generations they might not be able to think of. So, listening to the youngsters in terms of their innovative steps
mhm.
and pivot your thinking is the hallmark of a good corporate leaders. I would say so.
Thank you. Thank you for summarizing that for us. And for those who are watching us live, please feel free to join us in this conversation. And hello, yeah. This generation is different, sorry. I forgot how to read already. Yeah. So thank you so much, Bless, for your comment and for those that are watching us live today, or will be joining us on a replay. Please feel free to join us in this conversation. Give us your comment, your feedback, your questions, the insights that you like about this conversation. And to go back to the answers, I'm summarizing. I hope I've summarized it correctly. Yeah, that the top problems leaders face is actually neglecting to fireproof their corporate assets legally. And obviously we're talking with a lawyer. And then micromanaging, yeah. um, and um, as well as not seeing the need to innovate and pivot, right? And
Yes.
yeah, and you've also made mention earlier the importance of acknowledging some of the people that has influenced you, including Miss Chan and Dr. Law. You've made mention five. I only was able to put in two,
Yeah,
but
yeah. I mentioned five just now, and I've mentioned three names. Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Miranda.
mhm,
So two of them, and the third one will be Mr. Gerald Samuel. Comes
mhm,
next will be two academicians. Okay,
uh-huh,
these two are very important person in guiding me in terms of leadership as well as management.
yes.
So the first one that I would like to share is actually Miss Chan. She's from Culturistics. She's also a director of PKT Logistics. If you know about PKT Logistics, it's one of the top five logistics company in Malaysia, quite a big one,
Mm-hmm.
currently being headed by Dato Sri Michael Teo. And I share the same Sifu, that is
Right.
Miss Chan. Yeah, so over the years, she has taught me about leadership and management as a leader. She's also the author of G Strings Management. And before COVID, we used to meet very often on a monthly basis, where
Mm-hmm.
she will hear us out and brush us through, you know. And I'm very glad that after this pandemic and this Friday, we'll be meeting her again.
Wow. Thank
And then, yeah, a very sexy lady.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that with us. And again, it's very important that you always or continuously learn or hone your leadership skills as well as your self development, right? Because it always starts with yourself. It's really
Yes, yes.
understanding how
And
you can
always be
improve.
coachable.
Hmm.
Yeah. And I believe always be coachable is very important.
Exactly.
With my current research coach, that is Dr. Lo Wei Xiong,
Hmm.
uh, yeah, he's someone who has poured his heart to educate me on management as well as self improvement. And
Yeah.
we are going on the desert this September. Yeah. This is one of the training that we have to go through as a leader.
Wow, that should be exciting as well. So thank you for
Right.
sharing that with us and for mentioning against those that have influenced you on your leadership style today or reason why you are a leader today, right? So going back to the top
You.
three problems, you've made mention about micromanaging. I
Yes,
think this is something that we would want to highlight as well because this has been a usual challenge for most leaders that I've been hearing with conversations with other HR leaders or even practitioners, middle management, team members. So because again, like what you've mentioned earlier, right? It doesn't make sense that you're a leader. You're actually delegating the work that they have to do, and you have to micromanage as well what they have to do, right? Again, what you've said, it's the result and not the process itself, not the journey itself, but the result that they have to bring into the table, right?
that's
And
right.
yeah, and last but not the least, it's the need to innovate and pivot. I mean, we've seen that, we've known that, and it has been like smacked all the way to our face that we need to do that, right? Especially in the last 3 years, where like what you mentioned, not only in Malaysia, I think it's everywhere in the world, where quite a number of businesses who failed to innovate, who failed to pivot during the pandemic, lost their business. But again, it's never too late once you're there. Once you are like once you are you know what to do, or you don't know what to do actually. Once you are dedicated to live your purpose, and once you are a leader, you can always stand up, go back, and again transform, right? So thank you so much for
That's right.
sharing
That's right.
that.
So the
And
first thing that a leader needs to do is to be able to believe.
exactly.
You believe that you have the capability, and you believe that you will be able to sail through.
True, true. Thank you for that reminder as well. And I appreciate Bless for joining us today. And she was agreeing on that, yes, innovative steps is important as well, especially in this next normal, as we call it, right? And Kashif, thank you for joining us. This is my first time, and it is great to be in. I love everything the honorable interview is saying. Yeah, that's Arlene Tan. For me, the highlight
Here.
are my way or highway, and what she said about the delegation. Yes, that's very true. I mean, it's a common problem, I would say, based on conversations I had with other leaders from around the globe as well, and still, unfortunately, still. um, we have to keep up with that, right? Like what you've mentioned, the strategy now in and the reason why we need to pivot and innovate as well is that soon enough it's a different generation who will lead our country, our businesses. And so it's really knowing about how will you deal with this generation Z, or like the new generation to come, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and of course, we will not leave our audience with all these three problems, right? We wanted to somehow give them like a solution or an insight on what's actually, how will you address this, and what's actually the important leadership skills and capabilities that you must have in order to thrive in this next normal.
Mm-hmm. Like I said earlier, one thing that we need to do is to lay out the rules very clearly before embarking on something.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and always believe, and have a good pair of ears, willing to innovate and give chance to the others. The next normal will be influenced by women and those from the Generation Z. So embarking their thinking patterns and lifestyle will be one of the best way to move forward. If you refuse to change, time will now wait for you and will definitely leave you behind. So clear everything up and move forward. We always say that you have to leave behind what you have learned No doubt that what you have learned is very important, but you have to unlearn it so that you are susceptible to be able to learn new things. So this learn, unlearn, and relearn, I think this is very important in terms of our lifelong learning journey.
Thank you. I really love what you just said just now, especially about having good ear. I mean, listening, it sounds so simple, and yet it has been always a challenge for most leaders or for most organizations to be able to really listen intently. And
That is right.
because only when you listen well and listen enough, that's when you actually really get to solve problems, help others, right? um that's how it is. I mean, and
True.
then you mentioned, of course, about innovating and giving chance to others, like what you said, about like ensuring that you know better um how women and the generation Z are working and thinking their lifestyle. And it's easier said than done, I would say. But it's the way to go,
That
right?
is very true.
And I really love that reminder. I mean, I'm in the space of learning, right? It's always about learning, unlearning, reskilling, upskilling, right?
That's right.
Because again, for us to be able to adapt to the changes, to the next normal, to what it is to come, right? It's about like self development and always or continuously learning, in order to be able to adapt to that new
That's right.
situations, new
Yeah,
challenges that we will face in the future, right? And that's how it is right now. It's all about learning. It's all about continuously adapting to what it
that's
is
right.
and
That's
what
right.
will be, right? So
Yeah,
thank you so much. I really appreciate that conversation. And before we end this conversation, I'd like to ask you this very open question and a very
uh-huh.
interesting question, that if you have a magic wand and can use it, what will you do with it?
Okay.
Get my
Um,
magic wand for you.
I'm not an angel, so I wouldn't use it for world peace, you see. So, giving jokes aside, I would say that my main wish is for leaders to have the power to build what they want. Okay, and for me, what I wanted is always harmonious, harmonious family, harmonious office. So, I think keeping harmony is very important. So, if
True.
there is something which I can have, that will be harmonious, and there
Wow.
is no things which is right or wrong. Okay,
Right.
but let's treat everything with the best of ability that we can have, that we can give. Okay, and mm, let's keep a long lasting relationship with everyone we can. Okay,
True,
and
true.
yeah, one last word that I would like to emphasize
Mm-hmm.
is for all the leaders or the entrepreneurs out there. Okay, try to look into all aspects, and not forgetting the legal aspects apart from what you are always emphasizing on. That will be the commercial practicalities, but legal will be something which you cannot do away with. And please um, do it sooner than later, before it is too late that you regret it in the future.
True. Thank you so much for that reminder, especially for entrepreneurs or small businesses where sometimes they tend to forget about like having that done, right? Because they said, "Oh,
Right.
we're very small. I don't think we will have that problem." And again, like what you've mentioned and wished for with your magic wand, it's really like creating that harmonious office, harmonious relationships on or environment that you work in. I mean, it's kind of obvious, like the way or the work that you do, right? It's always evolving on prevention rather than,
Prevention,
yeah.
yeah.
Despite
And
that you
when
handle,
problems come, then our job will be to provide solutions.
Exactly. Despite that you handle like disputes and all as much as possible, the reason why you're doing it is to create that harmonious environment or that relationship between your clients and the how, I don't know how you call that in legal terms, but yeah, I mean it's really to resolve disputes and to create that harmony like what that you were wishing for. So I mean, without the magic wand, I'm sure this is something that you have been doing for others or for the lives of others. So thank you so much for
Thank
that
you.
work. And before we end this conversation, is there anything more that you'd like to leave our audience with?
Yes, always be coachable. Okay, always open. Be open. Have an open minded, and believe that you are able to achieve it. All right.
Thank you for that
And
reminder.
remember the law of attraction. What you believe will come to you.
Yes, so we can't like stress that enough how you need to believe in yourself. That's part of the law of attraction and getting the dreams that you're looking forward to have as well. So thank you so much for that. And again, like as you reminded us the importance of learning, thank you so much for these valuable insights that you have shared with us. Like preventive is always better than uh, solving
Yeah,
all these
that
disputes,
comes from a lawyer's. That comes from a lawyer's mouth. It's not from a doctor today.
right? Exactly. I mean, that's the same I would say, right? That's the reason why like doctors and lawyers would want to prevent rather than to solve all these problems, right? So thank you so much for this insightful conversation, Arlene, and thank you everyone, especially those who are watching us live, and do join us in this journey to create opportunities through these several interventions that CTS have been organizing, and we believe that we can create a better world to live in, right, if we just do our part, right? So
Certainly.
remember that even the richest investors in the world would say that investing in yourself is the best investment that you can ever make in your life.
Correct.
So with that, we would like to leave you with this quote that if your actions create a legacy that inspires others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, then you are an excellent leader. Thank you so much for being an excellent leader for us today, Arlene, and for your contribution on this conversation. And thanks, Kashif and Bless, for joining us today and for really engaging throughout the conversation. And this is also like I would like to take this opportunity to also like invite everyone to our upcoming programs. We'll be sharing it with you through the comments below, especially leaders who would like to understand better what finance is, finance for leaders, as well as for those engineers in the maintenance world who would like to um, like create a better and productive environment through HVAC and chilled water systems. Very technical, but I'll be dropping some links and information below after this conversation. So thank you, Arlene, once again, and thank you for those who
Pleasure is
joined
mine.
us live. So for now, see you next week. Next Wednesday will be CJ on Agile Leadership, and looking forward to like stay connected and assist you if there's anything we can help you with. Thank you so much, Arlene, and have a good day, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Bye for now and stay safe.
Bye bye.